So this morning I'm joined by Alanna Stephen from Escarpment Law. And thank you, Alanna, for taking the time out of what I know is a very busy day for you at this particular time of the year where everybody's trying to get closings organized before winter and what have you. So today we just wanted to chat a little bit because it's becoming more and more the case where young first-time buyers and even young couples who are trying to take that next step to move up are relying on the bank of mom and dad in order to help them access the funds to bridge the gap for that down payment. And what I wanted to talk a little bit about with you, Alanna, and lean into your expertise is how parents can certainly help their adult kids to get into the market, but also protect their investment. Because as we're finding out more recently, these investments on the parent side is an average of like $130,000, anywhere up to $200,000 in the Toronto area. So it is a significant amount of money that parents are putting in. And so if you wouldn't mind, if you can just touch a little bit on how you can structure the agreement or a side contract in order to help protect the parents' investments.
Yes, certainly. So over the years, we, of course, have seen this scenario, but more and more these days with the market for sure. The most common thing we are seeing is parents having to join the agreement or go on title with their children to sort of bolster or support the mortgage application. So probably the most common thing we're seeing is the parents aren't necessarily putting in any funds, but they need to go on title and with the mortgage so that the mortgage can be approved. Certainly, though, we are seeing more and more where parents are having to give that boost, though, of extra funds because the prices keep going up and up. The first scenario where parents are only going on title to bolster the mortgage application is a little bit easier to handle in terms of how those parties who are involved are going to hold title and the agreement going forward. So there's two parts to consider if parents and children are embarking on that. So the first would be how are they going to hold title? If it's a situation where the child is the one that is truly contributing all the funds and will carry, the purchase all the way through, any capital repairs, the mortgage payments, all that sort of thing, what we normally recommend is that the child hold 99% of the title and the parent or parents would hold 1% of the title. That satisfies the mortgage lender. And it also more accurately portrays the true situation of who's contributed what.
Right.
Parents, though, their first concern is always, well, this is not going to be my home. So I know I'm going to be exposed to capital gains when I come off title. Either that's through a refinance of the property or the child decides to sell the property down the road. In that case, what we often prepare is what's called a trust agreement that sets out the facts. And the facts primarily being that mom or dad has just gone on title to support the mortgage application, so purely for financing reasons, and the child is actually the true beneficial owner of the property, the parents just being a trustee of that 1%. So right. That should cover off the capital gains concerned, and then it clearly sets out the expectations between parents and the child in that situation.
Right. No, that totally makes sense.
Yeah, and then the second one that you'd asked me about was what if the parents are actually putting in funds to the transaction? So in that case, it's a more involved and perhaps a more complicated conversation that the parents and the child should be having with their real estate lawyer. It's going to depend on whether those funds are an actual contribution that the parent expects to get back at some point in time, or is it a true gift? So if it's a true gift, you can circle back to the scenario I was talking about earlier with a 99 and 1% situation and a trust agreement. If it's a contribution the parents are expecting to get back at some point, there are other ways that we can structure title or deal with side agreements to make sure that everyone understands going in what the expectations will be on the back end.
Yeah, because obviously that's the most important thing, that having everybody on the same page and making sure everybody's interests are best protected. And that's why you have to come to a professional such as yourself, Alanna, so that you can structure any sort of agreements or side contracts in order to best protect all the parties.
Certainly, and it's best to have those conversations early, even during the house hunting phase. Clients can speak to the lawyer that they'll eventually use for their real estate deal, and that way they know, how it's going to be handled going forward. And then there'll be a level of comfort for parents, either gifting money or loaning money or whatever the arrangement is going to be.
No, absolutely. No, that's great. I really appreciate you joining us today. It's just a topic that's becoming more and more talked about these days because of the rising house prices and more parental involvement. And I think there's a lot of parents out there who would love to help their kids take that step onto the property ladder, but they're just not quite sure how to go about it or how to structure it. And last week, I had a great chat with Jennifer from RBC, the mortgage specialist. So she was talking about a few different ways of arranging financing and that sort of thing. So no, hopefully this will be great information for our clients and anyone else tuning in out there. I really appreciate you taking the time this morning.
Wonderful. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Thanks so much, Alanna. Have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.